Hi and welcome. I'm your host, Tony DUrso. We showcase successful entrepreneurs along with humanitarian and noteworthy projects. We share wisdom, advice, and guidance with you to assist in your life, career, and business. Some great solutions and advice for you just ahead. Success awaits those who persevere and remain steadfast despite the odds. Be righteous. Join me. With us we have Ginzburg, digital marketing expert and Amazon bestseller. Welcome to the show, Jean.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Jean, it's my pleasure and honor to have you. And you know, you have so many accomplishments, but I'd love to find out, how did you become the expert in marketing, in digital marketing actually, that you are now?
Yeah, it's been a long journey. I've been doing this for 11 years, and I started off just in the corporate space back in 2007, and worked my way up and worked up the ranks in digital marketing there, and really got a lot of good experience. So I definitely am very grateful, partially for being in the corporate world, but at the same time, I always had the entrepreneurial bug in me, and I wanted to start something of my own, and so 5 years ago, I was working at an agency and I wasn't really happy, and I decided, you know, I'm going to take the plunge and I'm going to start my own agency and consultancy. And so I've been on my own for the last almost 5.5 years now. That's a very impressive record to be on your own and be so successful. Now, can you let us know, many of us think, okay, we hear marketing strategy. Well, we believe we know what that is, but this is a digital marketing strategy. Can you take us and explain what that is and the difference? Absolutely. So, of course, there's marketing, which is kind of the umbrella of both traditional marketing and digital marketing. And traditional marketing can be anything from TV ads to radio ads to newspaper ads, even flyers or things you get in the mail. So that's traditional marketing. And then about 20 years ago or so, when the internet came around, then we started to have digital marketing. So that's any marketing that's on your computer or on your mobile device. That also includes social media. So it's definitely been a big shift, almost a paradigm shift, if I would say, because really why digital marketing has become so much more popular is because we're seeing that audiences and users are just spending more time on social media and on their mobile devices. So on average, a person spends about 20 minutes a day on social media. So it's definitely been just a shift in attention of where users used to be maybe in traditional marketing and now are just spending so much more time on social media and mobile devices.
So true, except I think I spend more than 20 minutes a day.
I can say I can definitely spend more than 20 minutes a day because I have a few social media channels and profiles that I want to keep up with.
Now this book, Win New Customers, became an Amazon bestseller. Can you tell us why you wrote that? What's the backstory to creating this incredible book?
Absolutely. So like I said, I've been doing digital marketing, working just with private clients and helping them grow their business using the strategies that I've been testing. So things like Facebook advertising and understanding who your ideal target market is. And all of that was just a test in the beginning, and then I realized, hey, things were working, things were getting better, I was getting really good results, and so I thought, hey, you know, I really should put this in a book form or some sort of digital course form, and I decided to do the book first because I felt that I could really relay that message, the message that the strategies that I've been using with my private clients have been working, and that other entrepreneurs, startups, small to mid-sized businesses can use these strategies in their business. So I felt like I'd be doing a disservice to myself, to the entrepreneurial community, if I just kept it all to myself. So that's really the background of why I decided to write the book.
Well, great. First of all, thank you for sharing, because you've got some incredible information and techniques. And as you know, I come from lead generation and marketing, but this takes it a whole new level. And again, everyone, it's a #1 Amazon bestseller. So I really tip my hat off to you on that. Can you give us a little bit more of what we would find in here? Like what sort of information? You mentioned some Facebook, you mentioned some social media. A little bit more of what would we find in this book, please?
Absolutely. So this book is really targeted to entrepreneurs, startups, small to medium-sized businesses, and I say people who are maybe just getting started with their business and with digital marketing. So really what's in the book is we first talk about what is the ideal target market, so identifying who that is and who you actually want to market to and who is your product or service appropriate for. We get into developing a content strategy. I talk about video a lot. We talk about Facebook advertising and creating nurture funnels and nurturing your users, your prospects over a period of time. And then we get into retargeting as well. So bringing users in who might have engaged with your brand or with your website or your social media back into the fold. So it's, I call it a framework of digital marketing that you can use to, again, find prospects, nurture them over a period of time, and then convert them into paying customers.
I'm very impressed. And for our audience, are you ready for this? She used her own techniques and her own knowledge and methodology to market her own book and make it a #1 Amazon bestseller. I am so impressed. That's absolutely amazing. You know, just like me, I mentor people one-on-one, and it's so much work and it takes so much time. Now you have a very successful group coaching program with a lot of success. Can you tell us about that, please?
Yeah, so kind of going back to why I wrote the book is that I was working one-on-one with private clients and I wanted to expand the message because I felt that, again, I just didn't want to keep it all to myself, and working one-on-one with clients is good and you get really deep into it, but at the same time you can only touch so many people and so many businesses. So I thought that creating a group coaching program would be much more beneficial to the entrepreneurial community, because then I can have access to more people who can understand my message and use the digital marketing in their business. So recently I launched a couple of group coaching programs actually. One is for the real estate investing space. So we talk about how to find motivated sellers in your local geo area. And then I also created a group coaching program just for entrepreneurs, where we basically go into what's in the book, things like content and videos and Facebook advertising and retargeting. So using that strategies, using all those strategies and putting them into your business and growing your business.
Very cool. I love it. And again, I highly recommend get the book and check out this coaching program, because if she can do it and if she can show you, just think what you can accomplish for your business, whether you're a startup, an entrepreneur, small business, or whatever. I know what it takes, and she's really got this down to a fine science. And again, you can also go to her site, Ginzburg.com. That's Jean, J-E-A-N, Ginzburg, Ginzburg.com, GeneGinzburg.com. And the audience can get a hold of you if someone has a question. They can reach you there?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to the website, GeneGinzburg.com. Additionally, I'm, of course, active on social media, so you can find me on LinkedIn. I have a YouTube channel. You can find me on Facebook and on Instagram. If you just go to any of those channels and type in Gene Ginzburg, you should be able to find me. So I would love to connect with all of you. Please send me a connect request or follow me on social media. And yeah, I hope you guys take advantage of the book, and you can find it on my website or on Amazon.
Sounds great. I hope everyone does. Gene, thank you so much. It was great.
Thank you. It was wonderful. Thank you.
Hi, with us we have Rob Kessler, inventor of $1 Million Collar, and I'm wearing one. I absolutely love it. We're going to have Rob tell us more about it. Rob, welcome to the show.
Hey, Tony, how are you?
I'm just fine, thank you. And I finally meet you at last. I got to tell you, I love your collar, and people are going, what is it? So let's just start. Let's tell us, please, what is the collar and how it got created?
So it all started in Jamaica. I got married in Jamaica to my beautiful wife. And I was looking at my wedding photos, and I just hated the way that my dress shirt looked. It was a beach wedding, pants were rolled up, and I didn't want to wear a tie because I just don't like wearing ties. And all day long, I just remember tugging at my collar and just trying to get it to sit where it was supposed to. And it just never really sat the way that I wanted, and I just felt like my wedding photos were kind of ruined from my shirt looking so bad. It was brand new, freshly pressed, and it should have performed, and it just didn't. So I came home, I literally started cutting open dress shirts. I put a piece of cardboard down into a dress shirt, and I showed my new bride, and she's like, "Oh, I get what you've been talking about for so long." And so it started with cardboard, and I went through every piece of plastic in my house, mini blinds and milk cartons and ironing, like cutting boards and everything I could find. And the final product is basically this. And unlike a collar stay that's here, they go down the front of the shirt where the buttons and the buttonholes are. So
is it kind of like a long collar stay in a way, as far as a concept, or
as a concept, totally. But it goes down where the buttons and the buttonholes are, so to reinforce this part of the shirt. So when you wear it without a tie, it just looks great, sits where it's supposed to, and makes you look great.
And you know what's amazing about it is no matter how many times you launder or dry clean, it always stays fresh and clean and sharp. It looks like $1 million.
Yeah.
And this is a silk shirt.
This is a silk shirt. You will never see a silk shirt sit this good.
Never. And I've worn silk for many, many years. That's quite something. Now people are thinking, okay, great. How does this get assembled and you can wash it? So what's this process like?
So it took 3 years to develop a material that could handle the heat of dry cleaning. And so the installation is super easy. A tailor will just open a couple stitches, slide it in, and sew it back together. Once it's in, it lasts the life of the shirt. And so we work really close with a ton of dry cleaners so that you can just walk in and hand over your stays and get them installed into any shirt you want. So it's a pretty easy process.
Exactly. And let me tell you, it is easy. I go to my dry cleaner, I bring them the shirt, I say, please put in the $1 million collar, and boom. A couple days later, there it is. It's just that easy. You don't need a sewing machine. You don't have to sew it. You don't need to do it. Just drop. Now, Rob, what if the dry cleaner does not have the $1 million collar? It's pretty easy for them to get to install?
Yeah, you can order on our website or Amazon. They're easy to get. Our first, several thousand customers would go to dry cleaners that never even heard of them. So the directions that come with is really easy. It's literally 3 steps. Open the hem, slide it in, sew it back together. So everybody that orders gets great instructions. They can just take into their dry cleaner or their tailor and ask them to install $1 million collar. There's a video on our website. I mean, it's so easy. I taught myself how to sew, so it's really easy.
Great. So if the person does have a sewing machine or likes to sew, they can just do it themselves and watch the how-to video.
Totally. It's easy, but most people don't sew. I understand. So most dry cleaners, a good dry cleaner has alteration. So stop down by a dry cleaner.
And now you're in hundreds and hundreds of dry cleaners just that fast around the country, and even in other places of the world?
Right. We launched about 2.5 years ago. We're in 500, 600 dry cleaners now. We've sold about 150,000 units to 92 countries, which I never thought I'd be like international sales dude, but
you're the international sales dude. That is so cool.
Yeah, countries would come in. I'm like, I never even heard of this place. I got to go find it on a map. So,
well, I'm very impressed. Head on over to milliondollarcollar.com. Check it out. You have 2 alternatives. You can either have your dry cleaner do it. In fact, probably they already have it. You just have to ask them if they have the $1 million collar, or just order it and then give it to them for just a couple bucks. They install it, and I wear it on all my shirts. That's just how it has to be. They stay forever. They always look great and crisp, and I absolutely love it. And by the way, this is not just for men's shirt, but this is also for women's blouses and so forth, right?
Totally. It's for any collared dress shirt. 95% of the market are probably men's dress shirts. Women, fortunately, have so many other options. So I would wear anything other than a dress shirt. But when you're a casual guy and you don't want to necessarily wear a t-shirt, the dress shirt is the option to really look good. And I just don't like wearing a tie. I mean, 90% of dress shirts are rarely if ever worn with a necktie. So it just seemed like the marketing is and the timing is right. So
very cool on that. And what about a polo shirt? I like on a hot day wear just a short sleeve polo shirt. Can I put that $1 million collar in there?
We're working on the installation. There's a little bit of cutting and sewing, a little bit different installation, but it totally works in a polo shirt. We've got a lot of customers that have just gone off and done it on their own. So. And
it's the same collar. It's just a matter of the technique on installing it?
Yeah, they just tweak it a little bit. They cut it a little bit shorter because unless it's got a really long placket, it won't fit into a normal polo. So you can just cut it shorter and it'll fit in.
And you hear that? Polo shirts are in, so you can get this for your polo shirt and get a nice, crisp, clean look instead of having that collar just hang and dangle and so forth, which it's a polo shirt, but still you can look like $1 million in it. Now, if someone wants to get a hold of you or find out more, maybe a dry cleaner would like to find out more about installing it, can they get a hold of you at milliondollarcollar.com?
milliondollarcollar.com, totally. The website's available. We have all the social medias are Million Dollar Collar except Twitter because they have to have everything shorter. But we're M Dollar Collar at Twitter, but Million Dollar Collar on Facebook, Million Dollar Collar on Instagram. You can find me on LinkedIn at Rob Kessler. And yeah, totally.
Very good on that. And one last question. It's a new concept to some. Any particular story or success that you'd like to share to give people a better idea of what they can expect and its results?
Yeah, I mean, if you care about the way you look and you want to present yourself in the best way possible, this is the right product for you. And we get that from all of our reviews. I mean, if you go onto our website, it's literally almost all 5-star reviews, which seems weird, but the only negative reviews we get are it hasn't arrived yet, and that's not really a product problem. But read those reviews. I mean, people are searching for this problem. They have this problem, but a lot of people just don't know why it is the way it is. Dress shirts really weren't designed to be worn without a tie. And so they haven't really caught up to what modern style is, and casual is in. I mean, like I said, 90% of dress shirts will rarely, if ever, be worn with a necktie. So it just doesn't have enough structure and enough reinforcement to hold up the weight of the collar, and that's why it crumbles. And if it drives you nuts like it drove me nuts, then you're going to love it.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. Again, that's milliondollarcollar.com. Check it out. Get it, and you're going to fall in love with it. You're going to want it on all your shirts. I tell you that much right now. My wife is the one that found out about this, and all our shirts have it. It's a great product. Rob, once again, thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. This is great. Jordan Goodman is known as America's Money Answers Man. He hosts the national Money Answers radio show, and he's written 13 books on financial topics, including this, are you ready? The Dictionary of Finance and Investment Terms. And he's also was the Wall Street correspondent at Money Magazine for 18 years, and the list goes on and on. I love this subject. Welcome to the show, Jordan.
Great to be with you, Tony.
Tell us about the saver's dilemma, please.
The saver's dilemma, Tony, is that people who have money in the bank, CDs, money market funds, savings accounts, they're getting zero pretty much these days. And it's going to stay that way for a long time. So the banks are raising what they're charging on loans, on credit cards, student loans, business loans, but they're not raising what they're paying on deposits. So that's the saver's dilemma. You got your money sitting there pretty much earning zero.
That's very interesting. What solution do you have?
So here's a solution you won't normally hear about, Tony. There are things called secured real estate funds, which pay an 8% yield over a 1-year time frame. The value of the fund doesn't go up or down. It stays at a $10 net asset value, basically. You can get monthly checks if you like, or if you don't need the money, you can reinvest it and have it compound at a regular basis. The minimum is $5,000 to get into it. There are no commissions or fees of any kind to get into the thing. And there's a solution right there to get 8% instead of zero in the bank.
I absolutely love that, 8%. So what do we have to do? How do we start on this?
So there's a website to go to, which is securedrealestatefunds.com, where you can find out more and sign up for it even online. And you can do it inside an IRA, you can do it outside an IRA, or both, and have your money compounding that way. Now, let me just tell you a little bit more about how they work. What they're doing is lending money short-term, over like a year or so, to commercial real estate projects all over the country. Apartment buildings, medical offices, student housing, assisted living, parking lots, just all kinds of commercial properties that are perfectly creditworthy, but have a hard time getting loans because the banks are so difficult to deal with these days. So they make these loans, and in addition to getting the 8% interest, when the projects are sold at a profit, the builder-developer shares some of those profits with the fund, and you actually get a little bit extra on top of that. Last year, for example, the actual return on the fund was 8.7%, 8% from interest, 0.7% from the profit sharing. So you actually get a little bit extra there. So again, there's a website. You can see more about this, securedrealestatefunds.com. They've also got a phone number, 888-444-6600. 2102. A little bit better to get 8% than 0, I would say, Tony.
I'll say a little bit better. 8%, that's incredible. And now we're going to switch to something near and dear to probably every single person's heart, which is saving money on mortgage. We are no strangers to that 30-year grind. First of all, let's take it from what is the problem with that traditional 15 or 30-year loan on paying off a mortgage?
Well, the problem with the traditional mortgage is all the interest is paid up front. So people are paying thousands and thousands of dollars of interest and making very, very little progress on the principal with the traditional mortgage. You get a 30-year mortgage, you make the same payment for 30 years. After 15 years, maybe you paid off 10% of the principal, and then you pay off the principal in later years. And then, Tony, if you refinance, you start a new 30-year clock all over again with all that interest up front. So
I know that one.
To do this is what's called mortgage optimization, where actually, I'll explain how it works, but you can pay off a 30-year mortgage in about 5 to 7 years on your existing level of income.
That's amazing. So how can you do that? Can you give us some information or tips on how we can actually optimize that?
So you use a home equity line of credit, what's called a HELOC, H-E-L-O-C, which is a liquid line against your house, second mortgage. You can put money in, you can take it out whenever you like. You keep your income, which is normally sitting in your checking account, in the HELOC, pushing down your balance every day. And then you take money from the HELOC towards your first, pay that off faster, and literally in 5-6 years, you can have the whole thing paid off. There is a website that can actually model it for you for free, which is called truthinequity.com. You do what's called a personal profile. You put in your income, your expenses, your house value, your mortgage, all those things. And it's going to say what you're paying today is going to take you 28.5 years to pay off your mortgage. With the numbers you just gave us, 6.5 years, whatever it comes out to be. And then they show you step by step how to do it. There are 3 things you need, Tony, to make this work. Got to have equity in your house. If you're underwater, there's nothing to borrow against. Have to have a decent credit score, maybe 680 or higher, to qualify for that home equity line of credit. And you got to have positive cash flow. The more, meaning more money coming in than going out during the month. That positive cash flow is what's pushing down that principal. The more positive cash flow you have, the faster that mortgage is going to pay off. So I've just helped your listeners literally save 25 years off their mortgage and tens of thousands of dollars in needless interest in a way they're never going to hear about from the bank.
I've never heard about it my entire life. You hear that, folks? 5 years, 6 years, pay off your mortgage. This is amazing. Now, another one that's very near and dear to us is life insurance. When we have a life insurance policy, we let them lapse and they're done. But you have a way to still monetize that, or not capitalize it, but we can still actually get some great benefits on it. Can you explain that, please?
Cash is good, Tony, right? You can get cash.
I love cash.
A lot of people have life insurance policies. They've been paying premiums for many, many years. And when they either don't need it anymore, say their kids are self-sufficient, or they can't afford it anymore because the premiums have gone up, most people just let the policy lapse. The insurance company's real happy because they've been getting premiums from you for all these years. They've never paid you a dime. But there's a better way to do it, which is what's called selling the policy into the life settlement market. That means you can sell that policy for potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars. Somebody else buys it and then becomes the beneficiary and gets the death benefit when you die. And you don't have to pay the premiums anymore. Let me just give you a simple example, Tony. Say you had a policy worth $1 million and say you were 70 years old, something like that. You could sell that policy for maybe $300,000, $400,000. You get cash now. People buying that policy keep paying the premiums. When you die, they get the $1 million. So they put $300,000 in now. They triple their money when you die. Now, the older you are, and frankly, the sicker you are, the more money you're going to get for it because the people buying the policy don't think you're going to stick around too long. There is a website that can help you actually sell that policy in the so-called life settlement market. And that is called fundinglife.com. And they've also got a phone number, 877-485-6681. And they put buyers and sellers of policies together. You would be the seller of a policy. And literally, you get hundreds of thousands of dollars you thought you would never get. And then you could use that money to invest, pay off your debts, whatever you need in retirement.
What I like about that, Jordan, is that if you need the money now, you can actually take it and use it now. as opposed to another alternative are reverse mortgages, which I think are not very good at all for a senior. So this is a great alternative if you need the money, because you're not out of pocket and you don't lose your house for the kids and so forth. That's
Correct.
very smart.
You're selling the policy, you don't have to pay the premiums anymore. With a reverse mortgage, you don't have to make payments, but what's happening is those payments, the interest is accruing over time. So it's out of your hands. You get the cash now. Just tell your kids about it, because they're not going to get the death benefit. The buyer of the policy is going to be, but the kids should be happy. It's going to allow you as a retiree to live much better.
Absolutely, and it's the quality of life here. One more we got here. I want to talk about something which is a headache, but we're not going to make it a headache anymore, which is handling student loan debt. Can you tell us about it as the problem and also as the solution that you have?
The problem is huge, Tony. We have about $1.5 trillion in student loan debt. Every time there's this graduation season, we add about $100 billion in new student loan debt.
Oh, man.
The average person's graduating with about $39,000 in student loan debt. And it's making it really hard for them because they've got to service the student loan debt and have a life. It's hard for them to rent an apartment, buy a car, kind of get on with life when they have this huge burden of student loan debt. So there's two things you can do coming out of college. The first thing is consolidate. You have a whole bunch of federal loans at different interest rates. You consolidate it into one at the lowest possible interest rate using the federal consolidation program. But a lot of people find that kind of difficult to do. So there's a website that can help you do it, which is consolidatecollege.com. This is a place called the Student Loan Help Center. They also have a phone number, which is 855-305-1878. And they can help you go through that whole kind of consolidation process. So now you'll have one bill instead of many to pay. Now, the other thing you can do, Tony, is you can refinance your student loans, combining federal loans and any private loans you may have, which might be at 6 or 10 or much higher interest rates, into one loan in the 2 to 3% interest rate and save yourself a ton of money and pay those things off faster. A place that can help you do that is called Credible. The website for that is credible.com/moneyanswers. They've also got a phone number, 855-870-6005. Now, Credible doesn't make the loan. They're like a platform that have 5 or 6 different lenders with different programs, and you kind of tell them your situation, you see what's available, and then you pick the best deal for you. But now you're going to pay your student loans off a lot faster at 2 to 3% instead of much, much higher interest rates.
Thank you so much for all this information. You've helped us save money to 8%. You've helped us take our mortgage down to 5 years, which is incredible. You've helped us, instead of letting that life insurance policy just lapse, we can actually get cash out of it, which is great. And we can take our student loan debt down to a couple percent. Just absolutely love it. You have great information for us. Would you please share your website with us?
Thanks so much, Tony. Glad to help people. Yes, they can email me at moneyanswers.com. I'd be glad to take emails. There's loads of resources like those and many more to help people improve their financial conditions.
Jordan, you were wonderful to have on the show. Thank you so much.
Thanks again, Tony.
All right. Thank you again for tuning in. I greatly appreciate you. And please come back and check out my other shows. They're all aimed at making you more and more successful. And please follow me on social media. It's Tony DUrso on Twitter and Tony S DUrso for Facebook and Instagram. Remember that S for Facebook and Instagram. And thanks again. And remember, success awaits those who persevere and remain steadfast despite the odds. Be righteous. Join me on the next episode of The Tony DUrso Show. You heard that a majority of businesses failed. Don't be a statistic. Get my book free, The Vision Map. Beat the odds for your business success. Get it free at TonyDUrso.com/vision and set up your own successful vision map. TonyDUrso.com/vision.